Hello people, I'm making this video because in some classes I didn't have time to explain a lot about absolute cell reference, so this video is going to be about cell references in general. So a cell reference is a way of showing the value that another cell has, so it's basically like a variable. We have a lot of names for the cells like A1, C4 and D2. So these are names of the cells that we can call and make the values of those cells appear. So for example, if I have a 50 in A1 and then I call that cell by writing a formula, so we start with equal sign and then use the name of the cell, which is A1, I can call that value. And if the value in A1 changes, for example to 90, the value on the cell reference is going to change as well. We can use these values to make operations, like for example an addition or a multiplication with a different value. So all of the things you do with a normal number, you can do it with a cell reference as well. This cell reference that I just wrote, A1, like this, is what is called a relative cell reference. So let's write it like this. A1 is a relative cell reference. A relative cell reference means that if I copy this cell reference and move it to a different and paste it in a different place, the cell reference is going to change depending on how many places up or down, left or right I moved it. For example, if I had more values here and I grab the reference A1 and I copy it down with the copying cursor, you'll see that the next value is 50, the other value is 50 because this is 50, 40 because this is 40, 20, 60 and 0 because all these values are 0. And if you check, this is A2, this is A3, A4, etc. The same if I do it to the right. This is B1, C1 and the other will be D1, etc. So a relative cell reference is one that changes when we copy it to a different location. Then we also have absolute cell reference, which is the one that you also need to use for the activity 1. This is an absolute cell reference, which basically it doesn't work the same way as with the relative cell reference. If I have a value here, so let's make like random numbers here, 50, 100, something like this. Let's add more values here as well. So right now let's make a reference to this cell, G6. G6. So G6 is 50, this is okay. But now let's make it an absolute cell reference. So we type the money sign G, the money sign 6. If it were a relative cell reference, when I copy this to the right, it will change column. But in this case, it does not change column. It's always G6, as you can see here. If I move it up, the same, it's always going to be G6. If I move it down, the same thing. And if I move it to the left, the same thing. It's different if I have used a relative cell reference. Because if I move this to the right, it changes up, down and left. It always changes the cell to the values to where we copy that cell reference. So that is basically the difference. One is used when you don't want the cell reference to change, and the other is when you actually want that to change because you need to use different numbers in each row or column that you are completing. I hope you understood this, and if you didn't, let me know. Ask me any questions that you have. Bye!